Hi friends! One of the questions I get most often from would-be writers and aspiring authors is, what do I do if my title that I love has already been taken? So that's what this video is about. What do you do if you have chosen a title for your book and you've looked and found out that it's already taken? So first things first, I want to be really clear about this. There are a lot of things that count as plagiarism when it comes to writing a book, but a title is totally exempt from any sort of copyright. So you have the luxury and the opportunity to use any title that you'd like. The only time where that's not true is if the person who's already used the title has copyrighted that phrase as part of their own business. Then I would actually stay away from it. So an example would be if my title, let's just say my book title was KN Literary Arts, and you were like, the perfect book title for my book would be KN Literary Arts. Well, I wouldn't actually use that one because that's my mark. That's what I have in the world for my business. But most of the time, titles that we use on our books are not actually that closely aligned with our copyrights or trademarks that we have already made in the world. And in fact, I would recommend you not do that, because your title ought to really telegraph to the reader what the benefit from reading that book is going to be for them. So only in very, very rare circumstances would it be the best title for your book would be the same title as your business. So I want to say most of the time you can use whatever title that you'd like, even if it's already on a book and you look on Amazon and it's already there. So the question is, should you choose a title that's already been used? Because you can. And my suggestion is that there are a couple things I want you to look for before you decide to use a title that's already in use. So the very first thing I want you to do is go to the Amazon page where that book title is shown. So the author that has already used that title and already published the book, go to their Amazon page. I want you to look for three things actually. The first thing I want you to look for is the year that that book was published. If it was more than 5 years ago, you're probably in the clear. Now, this does not count if this book has been a bestseller over the course of the past 5 years. The second thing I need you to look for is what the Amazon sales rank is. So Amazon sales rank is notoriously difficult to decipher. It doesn't really mean that much, but if the book is under 10,000 on its full Amazon sales rank, so not the Amazon sales rank within a category, but it's literally just look for Amazon sales rank. And generally, most of the books that are for sale on Amazon are 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, or 1 million in their sales rank. If it's in those numbers, then you know that the book is not selling particularly well today. It may have 5 years ago, but not today. That is the second thing I want you to look for, is if it's continuing to sell well and anything that's under 10,000 is selling really well, I would stay away from it, because the problem would be that people might conflate the two books together. And they might hear from your amazing marketing that you're doing online about your book, but they actually go and they find this other book because it's selling better than yours, and it will show up higher in the search results than yours, and they might buy this other person's book. So you end up doing some advertising for the other person. But if the other person's book is going to be lower in sales rank than yours, then actually yours will show up first, and it doesn't really matter that much. The third thing I need you to look for is who published this book, and then do a Google search around that publisher's name. I mean, you might not need to if it's Random House or HarperCollins. You know it's been published by a major house. And the difference between a major house and a self-published book is huge when it comes to title choice. You do not want booksellers to be confused about your book versus this other person's book. If it has been published by a traditional house, and let's say you are being published by a traditional house, your editor there is not going to let you choose a title that's already been in print from a major house recently. They're just not going to let you do it because they know that there might be some more confusion than is necessary. And, but if it's published by a self-published author, it's published more than 5 years ago, and the sales rank is pretty like voluminous, meaning it's like above 10,000 and it's, maybe above 100,000, then you're probably not going to run into issues with booksellers getting confused. In large part because most booksellers are not stocking self-published books. So they may never have even heard about this other book that had your same title. And yet I will say that many of us don't really want to use a title that's already been out there, and I totally understand that. And I want to tell you that there are so many possible titles for your book. You might feel like, oh, this is the one and only title. But every published author who's a ongoing writer of books knows titles change. They change when you talk to the marketing team. They change when you go to sales conference. They change all the time. You can't be too attached to your title if you want to put it out in the world in a way that it's going to reach readers. The title must be right for that book, and oftentimes that will include not being a title that's already been used by a traditionally published book that's possibly being stocked in brick and mortar bookstores and that has a high sales rank so people are actually buying it. In that case, let me tell you, go to your brainstorm list. I want you to brainstorm at least 20 other titles and then talk to people, an editor, preferably somebody who actually understands the book business. But if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, then talk to your friends and find out which one of those alternate titles speaks most to them, would actually have them want to reach out and buy that book. I will tell you, in the case of my book, my first title was not the title that ultimately is on the cover of that book. The Book You Were Born to Write was not the title that I wrote the book under. It wasn't until the book went to sales conference where the salespeople thought that my first title was too feminine, and they thought that the book actually had a life beyond just women. In addition, men might want to buy it, but they wouldn't buy it with the title that I had been writing it under. So we changed the title, and you know what? You just go with the flow. That is one of the things that happens when you learn about the book business. You never get too attached to any piece of it, not to your cover, not to your title, not even to the editing that's inside of it. You working with a group and a team of people, if you're being traditionally published, who probably know better than you do about what the right title for your book would be. So I hope that helps you know what to do. If, just in a nutshell, one more time, if you find that the title you've chosen for your book has already been used or something that's really, really similar, I want you to go check it out on Amazon, find out when it was published, who published it, and what its sales rank is. If it was published a long time ago by self-published and the sales rank is very, very high, meaning it's not actually selling very well, then you can choose that title yourself. But if it's published by a traditional house, it was published within the last 5 years, I would not actually move forward with it. Those are my 2 cents on this very exciting topic. I hope that this has been helpful to you. If so, please subscribe to this channel. I send out videos all the time with really good information to help you get your book in the world. In the meantime, happy writing.